Hey there. Today, I want to share a story with you. Not a fairy tale, not about a hero in shining armor, but a real story, a deeply human one, about a man who was once drowning in alcohol and who now stands before others teaching them how to be fathers. A father who had lost his way. His name is Thon, nearly 40 now, a man with a weathered face and bloodshot eyes, worn from countless drunken nights. He doesn't remember when exactly the drinking started. A few casual drinks, then a habit, then an addiction. Than used to believe alcohol helped him forget life. But alcohol didn't pay his debts. It didn't make his marriage better. And it definitely didn't help him be a better father. One rainy night, he came home stumbling. His foot stepped on his son's school book scattered on the floor. The little boy, just 6 years old, clutched a torn comic book, eyes swollen from crying. Than shouted, "This house is a complete mess." And then his son looked up, voice trembling, and said, "Dad, I wish you were like Bai's dad. He reads stories to him every night." Just one sentence, but it struck him like a thunderbolt to the heart. He wasn't his son's hero anymore. He was the fear in his child's eyes. The day he let go of the bottle. The next morning, Thon woke up with a splitting headache. He looked in the mirror and saw a stranger. Gaunt face, sunken eyes, lifeless stare. But what hurt more was the look in his son's eyes. Not anger, not hatred, just quiet, aching sadness. That day, Thon walked into a local addiction support center and said, "I want to start over, for my son." Quitting wasn't easy. Some nights he'd shake uncontrollably, sweat soaking his clothes. Some nights he'd wake up gasping for air, teeth clenched. But he always kept one thing in his shirt pocket, a crumpled drawing by his son. It showed a man sitting beside a bed, holding a book. Below it, the words, "Daddy, please read me a story." That little picture kept him going through the worst nights, learning to be a father again. 9 months later, Thang was clean, but now came a different challenge, being a dad. He didn't know how to comfort his son when he cried. He didn't know how to respond to questions like, "Why does the moon follow me?" He didn't know how to connect. So, he started from scratch. He read parenting books, attended workshops, joined father support groups. He practiced listening instead of yelling, apologizing instead of blaming. One day, his son broke a vase. Before, he would have exploded. But this time, Than sat down, smiled gently, and said, "That's okay, son. I broke a glass once when I was your age. Let's just be more careful next time, all right?" His son blinked in surprise, then smiled. "You're much nicer now, Dad." Just that, and Than felt something break, not out of pain, but out of healing. A small class, a big dream. At a recovery group meeting, Than shared his journey. Afterward, one man quietly said, "I wish I knew how to be a father too." That one sentence stayed with Than for days. And then he had an idea. Why don't we start a fatherhood class? It began with just 6 men. All of them had once been heavy drinkers. All had lost connection with their children. All were trying to make their way back. Than didn't lecture, he just told stories about the first time he hugged his son without flinching. The first time he heard his child say, "I love you." The first time they cooked instant noodles together and laughed like it was a 5-star meal. He shared how to apologize to your child, how to listen, really listen, how to grow alongside your child, not above them. New fathers, new path. Months passed, and those small group sessions began changing lives. One man, Kwang, sober after 15 years, shared, "I had never said I love you to my daughter, but after Than's class, I tried. Yesterday, she hugged me for the first time in years." Another Tuan said, "I used to think only mothers needed to learn parenting, but now I know being a dad takes learning too, and I'm learning every single day." There were no blackboards, no textbooks, just broken men learning to mend themselves and rediscovering the father inside. Spreading the light, word spread. Local media picked up Than's story. Other recovery centers invited him to speak. He was asked to talk at schools, community programs, parenting workshops. But Than always said, "I'm not an expert. I just tell my story, the story of a man who hit rock bottom and found his way back." Today, his positive fatherhood classes are held in 5 different districts across the city. Over 200 fathers have joined. Men who once felt like strangers in their own homes, now reading bedtime stories, not playing in the park, planting trees with their children. They're not perfect, but every one of them is trying, and that's what matters. A small letter and a father's return. On his son's 10th birthday, Thon threw a small party. No big cake, no fancy gifts, just a simple envelope. Inside was a letter from his son. "Dad, thank you for coming back. I like the dad you are now. Someday, I want to be a dad like you." Thon read the letter, then sat silently. Tears welled up, not of regret, but of redemption. He wasn't just clean, he was home. Not just in his house, but in his child's heart. Thank you for listening to this story. If it stirred something in you, hold on to it, as a gentle reminder that change is always possible. Sometimes love begins with a simple apology, a small embrace, a quiet story read at bedtime.